Hello, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in for this edition of the U-Talk. My name is Marisa Schneider, and I work with international corporations at UnternehmerTUM. Our topic for today is the Canadian auto tech landscape. What you'll learn in this session is that Canada is home to two great industries. They are not only a large automotive producer, but are also home to major North American tech hubs. This ecosystem has brought forth a really quickly growing startup scene on auto tech, which is showing great potential on solving the current challenges on mobility topics that the industry and society are facing today. That's why I'm very happy and also honored at the same time for today's guest speaker. Our guest today is David Dunkerley. David is the Consul and Senior Trade Commissioner at the Canadian Consulate here in Munich. He arrived in Munich just a few months ago in fall 2020, to be exact, to start his posting here. Before that, he's also had an impressive career as a diplomat. He was in China for the last 8 years, first at the Canadian Embassy in Beijing, and then at the Canadian Consulate General in Shanghai. His career as a trade commissioner started back then at the Canadian Embassy in Manila in the Philippines. And yeah, where he was also the liaison to the Asian Development Bank. So a very impressive person. We are very happy to have him not only here in this U-Talk, but also to have him here in Munich to foster the German-Canadian friendship and partnerships, of course. So yeah, if you in the audience have questions, please feel free to reach out to David or to myself via the link provided next to this video. And now, enjoy the talk.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Marisa. Hello everybody, bonjour tout le monde, and guten Abend, meine Damen und Herren. Ich freue mich, an diesem Event teilzunehmen. It's a pleasure to be here for the International Entrepreneurs Night, my first event in Munich, and provide, hopefully, a bit of insight on what Canada has to offer in auto tech. Before starting, I'd like to thank you and UnternehmerTUM for the excellent collaboration. As the Senior Trade Commissioner at the Consulate of Canada in Munich, I'd like to first tell you about the Trade Commissioner Service. And sorry, Anna, you can go to the next slide. Canada's Trade Commissioner Service is our export agency and a part of Global Affairs Canada. Our mandate is to support Canadian exporters, promote Canada as a destination for foreign direct investment, and foster scientific and technology cooperation. We've been doing this for over 120 years with our network of offices in embassies and consulates around the world. Here in Germany, we're located at our embassy in Berlin, as well as our consulates in Dusseldorf and of course here in Munich. Our services are free to qualified clients and contacts. That means not only Canadian companies, but also foreign enterprises, including German companies that might do business in Canada. And I'd encourage anyone listening here tonight to reach out to us following the presentation if you have any questions about the Trade Commissioner Service and how we could help your business grow internationally. The cohort presenting tonight is part of a program we call the Canadian Technology Accelerator, offered by the Trade Commissioner Service. It's a program developed to support our deep tech startup base in entering foreign markets. Originally focused on the US market and limited to ICT, clean tech, and life sciences sectors, the program has expanded into other key markets around the world and has been broadened to cover other sectors. You are actually witnessing the first Canadian Technology Accelerator cohort focused on auto tech. The 6 startups pitching this evening were selected through a competitive process and represent some of the best we have to offer. We view auto tech as the application of deep tech solutions to some of the challenges facing the automotive industry, including autonomous systems, electrification of the powertrain, as well as health and safety issues. The 6 Canadian startups presenting tonight address many of these issues with the latest technologies and have, through the CTA program, been pitching their solutions to the key automotive players in Germany these past few months, with the help of UnternehmerTUM. I see auto tech as a major contributor to finding solutions in the broader new mobility context, and I'm glad to introduce what Canada has to contribute. While I am obviously focusing on Canada, the challenges we face are global and the solutions can come from anywhere. I fully appreciate that much of the audience tonight is not particularly concerned about the origins of the technology, and the location of the startup is a secondary aspect. However, the auto industry is seeking the best technologies on a global scale, and I would like to take a minute to explain why you should not be surprised to hear about strong auto tech solutions coming from Canada. Please allow me to give a short overview of the Canadian auto tech landscape. With vehicle production level of 1.9 million vehicles in 2019, Canada is a significant player in the highly integrated North American automotive industry. Canada contributed 12% of vehicle production in North America in 2019 and represents roughly 10% of manufacturing GDP in Canada, stemming from 21 passenger and commercial vehicle plants. The North American Free Trade Agreement, CUSMA, which replaced NAFTA, strengthened the Canadian auto industry and contributed to Canadian plants poised to win new product mandates for electric vehicle production. Although this map shows how the automotive industry is spread across Canada, the bulk of our industry can be found in the province of Ontario, which is home to several light vehicle assembly plants, including GM, Ford, FCA, Toyota, Honda, as well as the headquarter location for leading Canadian Tier 1s such as Magna, Linamar, and Martin. The province of Quebec, with the city of Montreal and area, is an important hub where several of the heavy-duty commercial vehicle assembly plants reside. Other pockets are spread across Canada, mainly in Manitoba and also in British Columbia. Next slide, please. This slide demonstrates what makes Canada so dynamic in the auto tech space and is the key point in the presentation. Zooming in on the map, you are looking at the southwest corner of the province of Ontario. The green ellipse encircles all of the light vehicle assembly plants on a 400-kilometer stretch from Windsor, which lies across the Detroit River from Detroit, to the Greater Toronto area. The blue ellipse, centered around Toronto, extends from Waterloo to Ottawa and is North America's second largest concentration of IT companies. We view the intersection of these two ellipses as the sweet spot for auto tech in Canada. It is, so to speak, a place where Silicon Valley meets Detroit. With such a strong auto tech industry in Canada, for our tech startups, it is not a foreign concept. The situation in Ontario is duplicated to a lesser extent in other regions of Canada, especially in Quebec, where the latest IT technologies have traditionally met manufacturing industry in the form of the aerospace sector, notably Bombardier. Quebec, along with Ontario, is also the center of AI developments in Canada. New technologies such as AI, quantum computing, and AR/VR are the underpinning of much of the tech that Canada has to offer the global automotive industry. Next slide, please. These images underscore the depth and scale of automotive relevant technologies to be found in Canada and cover all areas of the automotive technology stack. Whether it is in relation to the electrification of the drivetrain or software supported solutions for autonomous driving or the corresponding new interior, Canada has a strong and growing supply base to respond to areas of new technology. As an example of this, the region of Waterloo, home to the University of Waterloo, created the image on the right showing how local companies in that specific region offer solutions in a broad range of automotive systems. Next slide. I'd like to note here that Canada and Germany's cooperation in auto tech is just a recent example in a long-standing partnership in S&T. In a few weeks, we will be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the German-Canadian Intergovernmental Agreement on Scientific and Technological Cooperation. This picture was taken at the signing ceremony of that agreement in 1971. Some of you may recognize the man on the right as Walter Scheel, who was the German foreign minister at the time before becoming president of the Federal Republic. The Canadian on the left is Jean-Luc Pépin, the Minister for Trade and Industry at the time. Canada and Germany will be leveraging the 50-year anniversary to reevaluate where we focus our efforts to help solve some of the world's most pressing challenges and build a better future while reinforcing our current areas of cooperation. A good recent example, an ongoing example of German-Canadian collaboration is the recently announced agreement between Canada and Germany in the area of hydrogen, which has been in the news quite a bit lately. As you know, hydrogen is quickly becoming the centerpiece of Germany's decarbonization strategy. At the same time, Canada is becoming a major source of hydrogen for the world. With extensive capabilities for blue hydrogen in Western Canada and the large capacity to offer green hydrogen from Eastern Canada, you should be hearing more about Canadian-German cooperation in the coming years. There's my contact details. I'd be happy to speak with any of you who have any interest in the Trade Commissioner Service following the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David, for giving us these insights. Now, if you allow me, I would like to ask you a few questions.
Sure.
So we have in these amazing startups here tonight. You have been showing us the expertise of Canada in the automotive industry. What do you think, and how will the new developments in vehicle technologies affect urban mobility in the next 10 years?
Well, I must admit I'm not an expert in the area by any means, and I'll be interested to hear in the networking session later the thoughts of some others who are participating tonight. I would say, though, that I still think cars will be the centerpiece of that environment, albeit perhaps more as an autonomous vehicle, perhaps without a driver. I think generally speaking, we're making incremental steps in technology, and we're finding very specific solutions, including through products our cohort has developed and which we're going to hear about later. And all of these individual technologies, when brought together, are really moving things forward rather quickly. Personally, I think the evolution and broadening appeal of electric vehicles is something that I have a lot of interest in. Also in the knock-on effect it has for Canada in terms of supply chains, both for new tech and materials, particularly with respect to batteries, and the implications that has for Canada, including as a source of natural resources required for batteries. I think the adoption of electric vehicles will continue to pick up pace. And I think in 10 years, that'll be very evident when we look at the urban mobility landscape. Even in places like Canada, which in some ways is more challenging due to large distances, low population density, and our cold climate. It's probably also worth noting, I mentioned hydrogen there. Canada's contributing extensively in the area of hydrogen. It's already the 10th largest producer of hydrogen globally, and we continue to grow, and I expect we'll move up that ranking, including in production of green hydrogen, which is produced using hydroelectricity. Depending where the technology goes, that could be an exciting new area for urban mobility as well.
Right, thank you. And now tonight at UnternehmerTUM, and I guess the CTA as well, they are all about innovation. And the big corporates, they need this kind of innovation from startups. But what is your opinion? What is your feeling? How well do these corporations work? Is the industry prepared to work with startups and to use the solutions provided by these really young companies?
Well, as far as our CTA Autotech delegation is concerned, and with whom we have experience, I've been impressed so far in my short time that large traditional industrial companies in Germany, the auto manufacturers, have been opening themselves up for collaboration with startups. I participated in the BMW Startup Garage event we did, Startup Autobahn initiated by Daimler, and we have seen a sincere interest by these large players to explore what our startups have to offer. And we've had the honor of pitching to all of them in sessions similar to this. I realize it's not easy for a large corporate to work with a tiny startup, but I think that both sides can profit from working together. Startups are a great source of new ideas. They're responsive, they're adaptable, and the large players are certainly experts in helping them scale up their solutions when they do work together.
Mm-hmm. And on your first question, you already mentioned the autonomous cars. what do you think? What's your personal assessment? In how many years will you be driving an autonomous car? And will you ever, and if, when will you take an all-electric air taxi to work?
The all-electric air taxi, I'm not so sure about that. It might be a long time. I don't know, to answer your question, but you mentioned in my introduction my time in China. I was in China from 2012 to 2019. I did 4 years in Beijing, followed by 4 years in Shanghai. And during those 8 years, I witnessed just an extraordinary change in the landscape from a tech point of view, including from a transportation point of view. It was an environment with a lot of experimentation, especially with the use of big data and artificial intelligence and how those can integrate into transportation solutions. I saw a lot of ideas there that were implemented that worked, and probably even more that failed. All this to say, in that, with that kind of innovation happening, I think it could be much sooner than we might expect that we'll be having autonomous vehicles. Though I'm not sure I'd want to be the first passenger in one.
Thank you very much, David, for your interesting insights. Again, to the audience, please feel free to ask questions to him or to me, or leave a comment in the comment section. If you liked this UTalk, feel free to subscribe to the UnternehmerTUM newsletter via our homepage. We always announce the upcoming UTalks there, always the latest news on tech and innovation. And yeah, you of course also have the chance to subscribe to the UnternehmerTUM YouTube channel. That way you always get notified once we upload a new video. So thank you for watching today and see you soon. Thank you.